गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स. नमस्कार. आपण मागच्या वेळेला फोटोसिंथेसिस हा चॅप्टर सुरू केलेला आहे आणि या फोटोसिंथेसिसमध्ये जो शेवटचा पार्ट आहे किंवा शेवटचा व्हिडिओ आहे तो फोटो रेस्पिरेशन याच्या संदर्भामध्ये आहे. याच्या अगोदर आपण वेगवेगळे पॉईंट्स पाहिले, लाईट रिॲक्शन पाहिली, डार्क रिॲक्शन पाहिली. आता आपण जो पॉईंट घेणार आहोत आजच्या व्हिडिओमध्ये फोटो रेस्पिरेशन आणि फॅक्टर्स अफेक्टिंग फोटोसिंथेसिस. Photorespiration, it occurs under the conditions of high temperature, bright light, high CO2 and oxygen concentration. Photorespiration occurs in the C3 plants and this occurs under the certain environmental conditions. For example, when there is high temperature, when there is a bright light, when there is a higher concentration of CO2 and O2, at this time photorespiration occurs. Respiration we know. Respiration, that is intake of oxygen and release of CO2. Photorespiration means respiration which takes place in presence of light. This is a photorespiration. Photorespiration, it is a wasteful process. Means CO2 which is absorbed by the plant. Suppose this is a leaf. This CO2, all the CO2 is not used in the photosynthesis. But some of the CO2 it is given out. CO2, suppose which is 100 milligrams of CO2 is absorbed. All the 100 milligrams, these are not utilized by the leaves of the plants. But some amount, suppose 25 milligrams of CO2, this is given out by the process of photorespiration. It means that it is a wasteful process. All the CO2 absorbed, it is not used in the process of photosynthesis. So it is a wasteful process. This occurs in the C3 cycle. 25% of the CO2 is given out back to the atmosphere. Photorespiration involves 3 cell organelles. It occurs in the 3 different cell organelles. For example, chloroplast, peroxisomes and mitochondria. These are the 3 organelles involved in the process of photorespiration. At higher concentration of oxygen, Rubisco enzyme functions as oxygenase. We shall see the meaning of this one. Usually, RUBP, ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate, plus CO2. It is the first initial step of C3 cycle. Here there is formation of phosphoglyceric acid. 2 molecules of phosphoglyceric acid are formed. This is a 3-carbon compound. Here, enzyme is Rubisco, ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate carboxylase. Here enzyme is Rubisco. This enzyme is carboxylase, ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate carboxylase. Means this carboxylase, Rubisco, or this carboxylase enzyme fixes CO2 and there is formation of phosphoglyceric acid. It is the first reaction of Calvin cycle. In this case, when there is a higher concentration of oxygen, instead of Rubisco functions as carboxylase, this functions as oxygenase. This functions as an oxygenase, and other products of this reaction, these are produced. At higher concentration of oxygen, Rubisco enzyme functions as an oxygenase instead of carboxylase, and this brings about oxidation of RUBP. This RUBP is oxidized and this O2 is used in this reaction. This leads to photorespiration. You see it once again. Photorespiration means respiration in presence of light. Intake of oxygen and release of CO2 in presence of light. This photorespiration occurs under certain environmental conditions: high temperature, bright light, high CO2 and oxygen concentration. This is a wasteful process because in this process, all the amount of CO2 which is absorbed, it is not utilized in the process of photosynthesis, but some amount of CO2 is given out back to the atmosphere. 25% of the CO2 goes back to the atmosphere. means it is a wasteful process. Photorespiration involves three cell organelles. These are the chloroplast, peroxisomes, and mitochondria. Here what happens in the initial stage, when there is a higher concentration of oxygen, this Rubisco enzyme, instead of functioning as carboxylase, this functions as oxygenase. Means there is oxidation of RUBP and some other products are produced. This leads to the photorespiration. Then we shall see how this process operates. Here you can see when this RUBP, this is the RUBP, this RUBP reacts with this oxygen, and here enzyme is RUBP oxygenase. There is formation of phosphoglyceric acid and there is formation of phosphoglycolate. Phosphoglycolate and phosphoglyceric acid, these two compounds are produced in this reaction. RUBP reacts with the oxygen in presence of enzyme RUBP oxygenase, and there is formation of two products, phosphoglycolate and phosphoglyceric acid. This reaction occurs in the chloroplast. Phosphoglycolate, it is converted into glycolate. This is a phosphoglycolate. Here there is a release of phosphate, and this phosphoglycolate, this is converted into the glycolate because of removal of phosphate group. Then afterwards, this glycolate which is formed in the chloroplast, this is transferred to the peroxisome. This is a peroxisome. This is a chloroplast. Here, this phosphoglycolate enters the peroxisome. In the peroxisome, enzyme glycolate oxidase converts glycolate into glyoxylate. Glyoxylate, that is, oxygen is added. And in this reaction, one molecule of H2O2 hydrogen peroxide is released. In this case, this glycolate, it is converted into an amino acid glycine. Here, amino group is added and there is formation of an amino acid glycine. This glycine is produced in the peroxisome, then it is transported to the mitochondrion. This is a mitochondrion. Here, this glycine, it is transported to the mitochondrion. In the mitochondrion, there is a removal of amino group, ammonium. There is a release of CO2. Here, there is formation of a serine. Glycine is converted into the serine. In this reaction, one molecule of NADH is produced. You can see here, glycine, from this glycine, NH3 is released, CO2 is released, NAD is converted into NADH, and there is formation of another amino acid, serine. This occurs in the mitochondria. Serine is transported to the peroxisome. Serine, here it is transported to the peroxisome. You see these reactions once again. RUBP reacts with the oxygen. There is formation of phosphoglyceric acid and phosphoglycolate. Phosphoglycolate is dephosphorylated into the glycolate by the removal of phosphate. Glycolate is transported to the peroxisome. In the peroxisome, glycolate, it is oxidized. There is formation of glyoxylate in presence of enzyme glycolate oxidase. In this reaction, one molecule of hydrogen peroxide is released. This glyoxylate, it is converted into an amino acid glycine by the transfer of amino group. This glycine, it is transferred to the mitochondria. Here you can see this is a mitochondria. In the mitochondrion, two molecules of glycine, here, two molecules of glycine, these are converted into the serine. There is a release of CO2, there is a release of NH3, and NAD is converted into NADH. At this place, two molecules of glycine are utilized. Here the serine is formed. Serine is transported to the peroxisomes. In the peroxisome, or here at this place you can see CO2 is released. We have to find out in which reaction CO2 is given out in the process of photorespiration. At this place in the mitochondria, From this glycine, CO2 is released. 25%, there is a 25% loss of CO2. Means 100 milligrams, if these are fixed in the process of photosynthesis, out of these, only 75 milligrams are utilized, 25 milligrams are released in this reaction. This glycine, it is converted into serine just now we have seen. Serine is transported to the peroxisome. It is transferred back to the peroxisome. In the peroxisome, this serine is converted into hydroxypyruvate. Serine, it is converted into hydroxypyruvate by the removal of amino group. Here amino group was added, at this place this amino group is removed. Means this amino acid, it is converted into organic acid. Hydroxypyruvate, it is converted into glycerate. This is the reduced to glycerate. For this, hydrogens from this NADH are utilized. Hydroxypyruvate from this peroxisome, it is converted into the glycerate. This glycerate, it is transferred back to the chloroplast. This is a chloroplast. Here, this glycerate is transferred back to the chloroplast. In the chloroplast, you can see here, this glycerate is transferred to the chloroplast. In the chloroplast, what happens? This glycerate, it is a phosphorylated, means phosphate is added. In the chloroplast, glycerate is phosphorylated, means phosphate is added. Glycerate. There is formation of phosphoglyceric acid, which gets utilized in the Calvin cycle. Phosphoglyceric acid utilized in the Calvin cycle or C3 pathway, and in this pathway again there is a generation or formation of RUBP. In this cycle, in this way this cycle operates, and this is a photo respiration. You see it once again in brief. RUBP, ribulose 1,5-bisphosphate. This accepts oxygen. In presence of enzyme RUBP oxygenase, there is formation of phosphoglycolate and phosphoglyceric acid. Phosphoglycolate is a dephosphorylated, means phosphate is removed. There is formation of glycolate. Glycolate is transferred to the peroxisome. In the peroxisome, glycolate is oxidized by glycolate oxidase enzyme into glyoxylate. There is formation of hydrogen peroxide. This glyoxylate, it is aminated, or amino group is added, and there is formation of amino acid glycine. Glycine is transferred to the mitochondrion. In the mitochondrion, 2 molecules of glycine are utilized. There is formation of 1 molecule of serine. NH3 group is removed. CO2 is removed. So in this reaction, CO2 is removed in the process of photorespiration. Serine is transferred to the peroxisomes. In the peroxisomes, this is converted into hydroxypyruvate by the removal of amino group. Hydroxypyruvate is converted, or it is reduced to glycerate. This glycerate is transferred to the chloroplast. In the chloroplast, it is a phosphorylated. Phosphate is added, and this phosphate is supplied by adenosine triphosphate. There is formation of phosphoglyceric acid. This phosphoglyceric acid is used in the Calvin cycle or C3 cycle, and there is a regeneration. Again, there is formation of RUBP. So thus, in this photorespiration, the amount of CO2 which is fixed, entire amount of CO2 is not utilized, but some amount of CO2 is given out in the process of photorespiration. So it is a wasteful process. This process occurs, photorespiration occurs in the C3 plants. The next point in this photosynthesis, or the last point, it is the factors affecting photosynthesis. There are some external factors, there are some internal factors. External factors are light, CO2, temperature, and water. The factors affecting photosynthesis are divided into 2 categories: external factors and internal factors. External factors are light, CO2, temperature, and water. Then we shall see the light. It is an essential factor as it supplies the energy. Light is very important for the process of photosynthesis. If there is no light, no photosynthesis. It is necessary for photosynthesis because it supplies the energy. Quality and intensity of light both are important. Here only light is not important, but quality of the light and intensity of the light, they affect the process of photosynthesis. Highest rate of photosynthesis occurs in the red light as well as in the blue light. Then in the blue light. First in the red light. Highest rate of photosynthesis observed in the red light, red spectrum, and then in the blue light. In most of the plants, photosynthesis maximum in bright diffuse sunlight. Highest rate of photosynthesis in some plants, it was observed at bright diffuse light. It decreases in strong light. There is an inhibitory effect. And in the light of low intensity and highest intensity, both are inhibitory to the process of photosynthesis. Uninterrupted and continuous photosynthesis for longer periods of time may be sustained without any visible damage to the plant. If there is continuous process of photosynthesis, there is no damage to the plant. The first factor is the light, because this is a very important factor because it supplies the energy. Quality and intensity of light both are important. Highest rate of photosynthesis occurs in the red light and blue light. In most of the plants, photosynthesis is maximum in bright and diffuse light. It decreases in strong light and the light of low intensity. If intensity is very low, if the intensity is very high, both are inhibitory to the process of photosynthesis. The next factor, it is the CO2. We know that all the things, light, CO2, these are very, very important. The main source of CO2 in the land plants is the atmosphere. So atmosphere has 0.3% of CO2. In the atmosphere, the concentration of CO2 is 0.3%, and increase in the concentration of CO2 increases the rate of photosynthesis. This property, it is utilized in the greenhouses where CO2 concentration is increased. If the CO2 concentration is doubled, rate of photosynthesis increases 4 times. Increase in CO2 to about 1% is generally advantageous in most of the plants. Higher concentration of gas has an inhibitory effect. When here you can see that this is the CO2 concentration, this is the rate of photosynthesis. When the concentration of CO2 is low, rate of photosynthesis is low. If the concentration of CO2 is increased, rate of photosynthesis increases. At this place you can see that there is a highest rate of photosynthesis, or this is the highest concentration of CO2 where there is maximum photosynthesis. Then afterwards, if we increase the concentration of CO2, rate of photosynthesis does not increase, and then afterwards it decreases because it is inhibited. So the main source of CO2 to the land plants is the atmosphere. It contains 0.3% of the CO2, and increase in the CO2 concentration increases the rate of photosynthesis. If we increase 1% concentration of CO2, this is more advantageous to the process of photosynthesis. Higher concentration of gas has an inhibitory effect on the process of photosynthesis. Then temperature. Photosynthesis needs a suitable temperature. It depends upon the type of a plant species. In the presence of plenty of light and CO2, photosynthesis increases with rise of temperature. If there is a sufficient light, if there is a sufficient CO2 concentration, then there is a rise of, if the temperature is increased, the rate of photosynthesis also increases. After that, there is a decrease in the rate of photosynthesis. When temperature is increased, rate of photosynthesis increases. If temperature is again increased, the rate of photosynthesis goes down. The optimum temperature at which photosynthesis is maximum is 25 to 30 degrees centigrade. In most of the plants, optimum temperature for the photosynthesis is 25 to 30 degrees centigrade. In certain plants, like Opuntia, in these plants, the photosynthesis also occurs at 55 degrees centigrade. Here it takes place as high as 55 degrees centigrade. So temperature is another factor which affects the rate of photosynthesis. This temperature is very important. For the optimum temperature for different plant species is different. In presence of plenty of light and CO2, rate of photosynthesis increases if we increase the temperature, and if the temperature is again increased, rate of photosynthesis goes down. After that, there is a decrease in the rate of photosynthesis. Optimum temperature at which there is a highest rate of photosynthesis is 25 to 30 degrees centigrade for most of the plant species, but in certain desert plants, xerophytes, for example Opuntia, the photosynthesis can also occur at as high as 55 degrees centigrade. This is the second factor. The third factor which affects the rate of photosynthesis, it is the water. Water is one of the raw materials that is essential for photosynthesis. If you see the equation of photosynthesis, you will see that water is very, very essential. And increase in the water content of the leaf, it results in the corresponding increase in the rate of photosynthesis, because turgidity of mesophyll cells is important. If the mesophyll cells are flaccid, photosynthesis rate goes down. Means water is very, very essential. So the limiting effect of water is indirect. It is mainly due to the fact that it maintains the turgidity. Here, to maintain the turgidity of mesophyll cells, this water is very, very essential. So hydration of protoplasm is essential for the process of photosynthesis. So water is the next factor. This is the raw material for the process of photosynthesis. If we increase the water content, rate of photosynthesis increases. It is a limiting factor, or the limiting factor of water is indirect, limiting effect of water is indirect, and it maintains the hydration of the protoplasm. This is very important for the process of photosynthesis. Then internal factors. The rate of photosynthesis is proportional to the quantity of chlorophyll. If the chlorophyll quantity is more, rate of photosynthesis is higher. Accumulation of sugars. If the sugars are accumulated, rate of photosynthesis goes down. Thickness of cuticle and epidermis of the leaf, these are also important factors. Size and distribution of intercellular spaces and distribution of stomata. If the more stomata are present, more CO2 will be absorbed, there will be higher rate of photosynthesis. Development of chlorenchyma and other tissues also affect the rate of photosynthesis. So these are the internal factors. Rate of photosynthesis is proportional to the quantity of chlorophyll. If more chlorophyll, more photosynthesis. Accumulation of sugars. If more sugars are accumulated, rate of photosynthesis goes down. Thickness of the cuticle and epidermis are also important. Size and distribution of stomata, these are also important. If more stomata are present, more CO2 will be absorbed. So all these are the internal factors that affect the process of photosynthesis. Blackman's law of limiting factors. Blackman's law of limiting factors states that when the process is conditioned as to its rapidity by number of separate factors. Number of separate factors means CO2, temperature, light, etc. These are the separate factors which affect the rate of photosynthesis. This is conditioned as rapidity number of separate factors. The rate of photosynthesis is controlled by the speed of the slowest factor. We shall see the meaning of this one. Here you can see that if suppose the concentration of CO2 is increased, if the temperature is increased, rate of photosynthesis increases. But unless and until if the light is very low, intensity of light is very low, rate of photosynthesis cannot increase. But if the intensity of light is increased, again a rate of photosynthesis increases. It means that this light acts as a limiting factor. If suppose the photosynthesis is conditioned by the different factors, and it is observed that the speed of the photosynthesis depends upon the concentration, or it is controlled by a slowest factor. Suppose this is a slowest factor. Slowest factor is that factor which is present in the minimum concentration. If the intensity of light is very low, this acts as a limiting factor. Law of limiting factors can be explained by taking two examples, that is CO2 and light, etc. Suppose, we shall take another example. Suppose a plant photosynthesizing at fixed light intensity and sufficient to utilize 10 milligrams of CO2. There is 10 milligrams of CO2 if there is a sufficient light. Then you can see that on increasing the CO2 concentration, the rate of photosynthesis also goes on increasing. CO2 चं concentration वाढलं, photosynthesis rate वाढलं. Now, if CO2 concentration is further increased, there is no increase in the rate of photosynthesis. या ठिकाणी दोन, मगाशी आपण 3 फॅक्टर्स कन्सिडर केले, या ठिकाणी 2 फॅक्टर कन्सिडर करूया. CO2 कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन आणि लाईट. CO2 कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन वाढलं, फोटोसिंथेसिस वाढतं अप टू ए सर्टन लिमिट. Up to a certain limit. If now CO2 concentration is further increased, no increase in the rate of photosynthesis. Thus, in this case, light becomes a limiting factor. मग या ठिकाणी फोटोसिंथेसिस वाढवण्यासाठी लाईटची इंटेन्सिटी सुद्धा वाढवणं आवश्यक आहे. म्हणजे जरी CO2 कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन वाढलं तरी फोटोसिंथेसिसचा रेट वाढणार नाही अप टू ठराविक लिमिट नंतर. But त्या ठिकाणी काय करावं लागेल, लाईट ॲक्ट्स एज अ लिमिटिंग फॅक्टर. इफ वी इन्क्रीज द इंटेन्सिटी ऑफ लाईट, अगेन rate of photosynthesis can increase. Thus, in this case, light becomes a limiting factor. Under such conditions, rate of photosynthesis can be increased only by increasing the light intensity. This is a law of limiting factors. परत एकदा पहा, if we consider two factors, CO2 concentration and light, if we increase the concentration of CO2, rate of photosynthesis increases up to a certain limit. After that, if we increase the rate of increase the concentration of CO2, rate of photosynthesis goes down. Means there is no further increase in the rate of photosynthesis. At this place, light acts as a limiting factor. If suppose the concentration of, if the intensity of light is increased, then there is further increase in the rate of photosynthesis. Thus, light acts as a limiting factor. Now we shall proceed toward the significance of photosynthesis, uses of photosynthesis, or economic importance of this photosynthesis. This produces a food for all life forms, for human being, for other animals. The food which is supplied, this comes by the process of photosynthesis. It maintains the balance of oxygen and CO2 in the atmosphere. If there is no photosynthesis, CO2 will not be absorbed, O2 will not be given out. It means that photosynthesis maintains the balance of oxygen and CO2 in the atmosphere and helps in purifying the air. This is very important. As more oxygen is given out, and it also helps, photosynthesis also helps in the purification of air. This process also helps in providing the fossil fuels. The plants which were present on the earth in those days, by the process of photosynthesis, they stored the food material, and that food material now used as a fossil fuel like coals, petroleum and natural gas, etc. Oxygen evolved in the process photosynthesis is used in aerobic respiration, or the respiration of all the organisms, all the animals, etc. This oxygen comes by the process of photosynthesis. In the formation of, this is also important, in the formation of protective ozone layer around the earth, around the earth, there is a ozone layer. And for the formation of this ozone layer, oxygen is very, very important, and this is supplied by the process of photosynthesis. The first important use of photosynthesis is, this supplies the food, it maintains the balance of oxygen and CO2 in the atmosphere, and it helps in the purification of air. This process also helps in providing the fossil fuel. In the earlier days, there were plants on the earth's surface, they were photosynthesizing, and afterwards, these were buried inside the earth surface or in the soil because of earthquake, etc. And now these are converted into the fossil fuels, coals, petroleum, natural gas, etc. Oxygen evolved in the photosynthesis is used in the aerobic respiration, for the respiration of all the animals, etc. this oxygen is very, very important. This is the oxygen evolved in the photosynthesis. This is also useful for the protection, for the formation of protective ozone layer. Around the Earth surface there is a ozone layer, and for the formation of this ozone layer, this oxygen is very, very important, and which is produced by the process of photosynthesis. This is about the photosynthesis. मित्रों, आपणास हा व्हिडिओ आवडला असेल तर कृपया लाईक करा, शेअर करा आणि सबस्क्राईब करा. धन्यवाद.